Hey crew, I've got the key to that 25 Porsche Cayenne GTS Coupe. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. The GTS is back for 25, following the redesign of the Cayenne for the 24 model year. It's distinguished by flat black accents, a unique lower fascia. We've got functional air intakes, integrated LED turn signals. Above are LED DRLs and projector LED headlights within a blacked out housing. This one's painted in Arctic gray. It's a creamy gray color that I think looks great with the GTS trim. At the side, you get a standard set of 21-inch wheels, but these are the upgraded 22s in matte black. Those are wrapped in Pirelli P0 summer tires, size 285 section front and 315 at the back. As a general rule, I'm not into coupe design SUVs, but this and the Audi Q8 are the exception. Both look terrific and both share the same platform. Here at the back are some slender LED taillights and turn signals. Above is a gloss black lip spoiler, and down below is an optional carbon fiber diffuser with the twin center exit sport exhaust. Especially as equipped, this GTS Coupe looks like a spitting image of the Turbo GT for tens of thousands of dollars less. My question for you is whether it looks spicy enough. Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this black leather interior with a silver Houndstooth fabric insert. I'm a sucker for Houndstooth. I think it looks so cool. One quick note, this is a European spec model, so some standard features and equipment might be slightly different than the US. There is leather up top on the door sills, gloss black trim above optional carbon fiber trim, suede inserts and padding for your armrest, leather down low, and a standard Bose sound system. You also get one-touch up-down windows. Stepping in with that coupe roofline, I do have to duck my head a little bit on my way in. Behind my own seat at 6 feet tall, got plenty of knee room here. This mesh mat pocket will wear out quickly. Big foot pockets to slide my feet under. Thigh support is excellent. And there's even headroom in the coupe model. I love that. Thumbs up for me. And I can recline my seat for a more relaxed posture. Here in the center, you get a 4-zone climate control system as an option. Rear heated seats are also optional. And down low is a DC outlet and 2 USB-C ports. Don't have to worry about that drive shaft hump because no one's going to make their way into the middle seat because it isn't one. It's just storage here in the coupe. There's an armrest that comes down with leather padding and 2 cup holders plus whatever that thing is in the center. There's also a suede headliner as standard. Let's go check out the front next. No need to slam the doors because there's a soft close function as standard if you wanted to hear the build quality though. Oh yes, solid thud. Smart keyless entry for the rear and front doors. The front seats are more aggressively bolstered, though on this European model, they're missing the GTS logo stitched on the headrests. They've got 8 ways of power adjustment and seat heating as standard, but no standard seat ventilation. Surprising for this money. Aluminum GTS tread plates here and aluminum accented foot pedals. I mentioned the suede headliner, and of course that means no sunroof. That would be standard on this car. Instead, we've got the carbon fiber package. So that roof is all in carbon fiber. It looks very cool. Front doors are similar to the back. They add 3 positions of memory for the driver's seat, power adjusting and power folding door mirrors, and a tailgate release button. Behind that second row, there's 26 cubic feet of space. If you needed more room, there are no levers to pull to fold the seats from back here. You've got to do that from the back seats. With them folded, they're not completely flat, but you've got 60 cubic feet of space. There are also air suspension controls in the trunk to make it easier to load in cargo, but the vehicle's already pretty low. It's 0.4 of an inch lower than the standard Cayenne. And underneath the floor, there should be a spare tire, but it's been removed on this one. Instead, you've got an inflation kit. Power close and lock feature is on that trunk lid. Hopping now into the driver's seat. Closing up that door softly. Drivers are greeted by this suede wrap steering wheel with a smaller diameter than the standard Cayenne. It feels great in the hands. The paddles in the back, they're not that large, but they're so quality. Drive mode dial is here on the right. Ignition is still on the left, but it's no longer a crank. It's a push button. I miss that sense of occasion. There's a digital gauge cluster that is reconfigurable, head-up display, some leather up on the dashboard, sport chrono lap timer as standard on the GTS. Here's your 14-inch touchscreen. It is a very easy layout, and it's quick responding. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's also an optional passenger display that the driver can't see, but the passenger can. That's to reduce distraction. There's some carbon fiber here under the screens. You've got your air vents, and slide this forward for a wireless charging pad and 2 USB-C ports. Lots of gloss black in this console area. It's already collecting dust. It smudges, it scratches. It's not my favorite trim. There is a physical volume dial and some climate adjustments here. Storage, 2 cup holders, DC outlet, suede topping that console, and inside, there's not a whole lot of storage in there. Visibility. It looks good, and then you start going back and you see that big blind spot at the back pillar, and those itty-bitty windows don't really do anything to help. There is standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. Overall, this cabin does have some style with the houndstooth inserts and sporty bits with the suede wrapping and carbon fiber, but it's also 170 grand as tested, and missing some features I think should be here for that money, but we'll see if the driving dynamics are worth the price. All right, let's fire it up via button. What a hearty startup from that V8. Makes up for the lack of crank that I really miss. Hey cabin crew, thanks for joining for this drive review in the 25 Porsche Cayenne GTS Coupe. I'll begin by selecting my drive mode here via dial. There's normal, there's sport, there's sport plus, and way over here there's off-road, but I'm going to begin in the normal mode, and then to go into reverse I press up on this little dongle here that brings up a high-res camera system with trajectory lines, and there's also a surround view so I can work my way around the exterior, though it's not in the same Arctic gray color as my tester. So unfortunate. There are other camera angles to choose from, and that wide angle view is very helpful. Let's do the rear shot here and back on out. Now, pressing down to go into drive, I'll begin with a turning radius test and cranking that wheel. The GTS Coupe pivots around so tightly with the optional rear wheel steering system. Now let's listen to the turn signal sound. What a pleasant tune. I quite like that. And what about the world famous horn test? Such an elite sounding horn, I love it. I'm also into this powertrain. 4-liter twin-turbo V8 like the Cayenne S, but unlike the Cayenne S, it makes 493 horsepower and 486 pound-feet of torque. That's 25 more horsepower than the S, and it's 40 more horsepower and 29 more pound-feet than the last generation Cayenne GTS. And now 25 more horsepower doesn't sound like a whole lot more than the 20 grand cheaper Cayenne S, but the way they got there is really impressive because, for one, they didn't just increase the boost pressure. I mean, they did that too, but they also swapped out the twin scroll turbos for mono scroll turbos that can handle higher exhaust pressure. They swapped in electronically controlled wastegates for quicker throttle response. There's variable valve lift in the camshaft for higher performance in the upper part of the rev range. And they've got increased injection pressure, and oh, you get the liquid cooled transfer case from the Turbo GT in case you plan on tracking this thing so it can handle the built up heat. And all that's very cool, but around town you just care about, well, is this 8-speed automatic smooth? And yes, it is. And the carbon ceramic brakes don't squeal when you tap into them without them having warmed up. That's very nice. And you can really feel out the foot pressure required to come to a smooth stop. Building up in the normal drive mode, readily get up to speed. There's throttle response there, but it's not overzealous. And the GTS is just very composed. Shockingly so. On these 22-inch wheels, I expected a firmer ride, but because we have this air suspension system, it's an active dampening system, along with the Porsche dynamic chassis control with the active anti-roll bars, just rides so nicely here around town. and you still get that churning V8 noise, but it's subdued in the normal mode. You can make it a little louder if you go into the sport drive mode. Ooh, yes, a little bit of overrun there. And this is the optional sports exhaust, so it's heard a bit more clearly, distinctly, and I appreciate that. One thing I don't really enjoy is the start-stop system, which doesn't really work when you're in the sport drive mode, but if you're in normal, it's always there doing its thing, which I understand is there for improving efficiency, but the way it comes in, it kind of cuts off the engine even as you're coasting up to that light. And I suppose that's supposed to be smooth, but if you have to then go back to the throttle, say the light goes green, then it will re-engage the gearbox, and it's sort of a lurching experience. Thankfully, you can customize this favorites button to be the start-stop system. So if you just get in, it's automatically going to turn the start-stop on, but you just hit that button, and then it's off. You don't have to worry about it. And I have some high praise for these seats, not only stylistically with the Houndstooth, but comfort factor. They are so ergonomically shaped, perfect for my body type, not squeezing me too much with the bolsters, but keeping me just comfortable. And the padding is sufficient, the adjustability is terrific, even with only the 8 ways of adjustment that you get as standard. I found a great driving posture for myself. There's lots of tilt and telescope to the wheel, and I've got head clearance at 6 feet tall. I feel just at ease in this driving experience, and that goes for as the speeds build up, because I'll quiet up for a moment now. You can listen to the cabin volume. Which is so minimal. You basically just hear a bit of the churning V8. The tire noise is ultra mellow, again, super impressive for 22-inch wheels. Wind noise is effectively non-existent. This would be a terrific commuter vehicle. And if turning a dial is too difficult for you, or you just need even more immediate throttle response, you can just hit the button and it gives you 20 seconds of immediate grunt from that V8. Perfect for passing maneuvers, or just if you need a shot of espresso to your commute. And if you thought I was just taking it easy on the GTS ride compliance talk with the smooth pavement there, now I'm on something with many different surface changes and patches and crags. And the ride stays just as good. This twin chamber air suspension is so adept at filtering out the blemishes that you never have tension or fear. You just have enjoyment. But are there other ways to enjoy the GTS? Like with a real-world 0 to 60 test. I've got my race box set up over here to record. To engage launch control, I go into the Sport Plus drive mode, hold my foot firmly on the brake, pin the throttle, get ready for launch, let go. And there is 60 in 3.99 seconds. It's the GTS! But wait, there's more. Like, a lot more. And it all becomes apparent the moment you get the GTS to a good road. And you can experience the suspension tweaks they made for the GTS. The additional front tire camber, pulled from the Turbo GT, allows it to have reduced understeer as the all-wheel drive system gets the power to the ground, and it gives it more grip. The quicker steering rack and smaller diameter wheel offers this sense of urgency to the lateral maneuvers. Turns in so sharp. And like every other Porsche model, the amount of feel I have through this electronically assisted steering just fills me with confidence. It brims from the rim. As you turn the wheel, the resistance builds to deliver that communication, telling you, yeah, there's grip there. Oh, there's still grip. You can push it harder here. You should back off there. It's all told through the steering. And that's what you need to make a true driver's car. Even if it's an SUV, even if it's a 5,000 pound SUV. You also on downhill portions are really grateful for these carbon ceramic brakes. Massive, yes, but just resisting fade as they're tortured on the way down. It's so flat, it's so fluid, and the Torque Vectoring Plus system just ushers the power to the tire with grip quickly, effectively, and without disrupting the stability. What a rush! And at least in this environment, I don't need any more power than just under 500 horses. It is blisteringly quick. What a treat. I'm also not missing Porsche's dual clutch automatic nearly as much as I expected. This torque converter auto, at least in the automatic mode, is making all the right moves, but that doesn't mean I don't want to try out manual mode. So if I pull and hold down on the gear selector, that's engaged, and I have complete control over those gear changes. With shift light indicators there on the tack, I like that. And a satisfying click as you pull the paddle. Of course, it will let me hold the revs all the way out to red line. Demonstrated here, right up to red line. Don't engage, maintain the gear. Once more. What a rocket ship, and then the downshift prompted quickly. Now there, in the manual mode, I feel like the downshift hesitated ever so slightly, whereas it would be just instantaneous with the PDK. Still good, but knowing it could be better. And there on the upshift as well, I'd pulled the paddle and it just banged off the rev limiter a little bit. Well, I'll tell you one thing that's for darn sure. I found where all the extra money went on the Cayenne GTS. Porsche applied it to developing the dynamics. And though some of these attributes, like the rear wheel steering system and maybe the active anti-roll bars, I think should be standard on the driver's trim of the Cayenne, when they are equipped, they help deliver a driving experience that's just kind of unparalleled for this particular segment. And I'll talk more about what that segment encompasses in just a moment, but first, the top speed and fuel economy. Top speed for the GTS is 171 miles per hour, and the EPA rates the fuel economy at 15 mpg city, 21 on the highway, and 17 combined. Though I have shared the as-tested price of this car here at $170,000, the starting price for the SUV body style is $127 grand, and the coupe starts at $131,000. Now let's get into the competition. In that similar price territory, there's the BMW X6M that's $131,000. It makes 617 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3.7 seconds, has a top speed of 177 miles per hour, and fuel economy that ties this at 15 combined. Or there's the new Audi RSQ8 that's $145,000. It makes 591 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3.5 seconds, has a top speed of 190 miles per hour, and the same 15 mpg. So you look at those numbers and you go, oh, the GTS is down at least 100 horsepower. It's the slowest to 60, has the lowest top speed, and if you dig further in, you'll find out it has the fewest standard features. So why would you ever choose this? And if power and amenities matters most to you, then by all means, go get one of those two SUVs. They're both great vehicles. But if driving engagement is the thing you prize the most, then you're not going to be satisfied with very good, which is exactly what those two vehicles are. They're very good to drive, but they're not the best. This, in this segment, is the best. And if it were me, I would get a stripped down GTS, just the performance options for maybe $145,000 and be really satisfied with the knowledge that I'm getting something that's quiet, it's comfortable, it's good looking, and importantly, it is thrilling to drive. And now it's your turn. Let me know what you would choose in the comments: Cayenne GTS, BMW X6M, or Audi RS Q8. I hope you guys have enjoyed this drive review, and I will see you again next time.